Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of June 2nd to the 8th, 2024. And basically, I'm taking care of my parents' cat and everything like that. So if for some reason he jumps on my desk and sort of blocks the camera for a bit, though, then you'll probably know why and everything like that. He's done that before in the past, but right now he's busy doing something else, so hopefully he stays that way for a bit. But anyway, we got 4 stories to cover this week, including rumors about what we could see at this Xbox showcase. This video will probably be coming up on Saturday, including the possibility of a new hardware revive, maybe the rumored Xbox portable device or something like that. We're also learning about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in terms of how much money was lost on this game to basically what's going on with Rocksteady and everything. We also are going to be talking about a report coming out apparently that Google may have leaked some information out, particularly with Nintendo, that they probably shouldn't have not done. And we're learning about some of the stuff in the upcoming Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the sequel to the first game, and how the Xbox Series S may have had an impact on that game, or so forth. And if you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be down in the description down below. And if you want to skip to a certain part of this video, though, timestamps along with the descriptions will also be down below excuse me, of this video and all. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents. Stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one has to do with the fact that Playtonics has put out a new trailer for what looks like a remake or remastered of the first ukulele game, other by the name of Replay, odd name to be exact though. They're basically promising maybe some changes to the gameplay mechanics to a certain degree. I remember when that game originally launched, there were certainly issues with that game, but supposedly they fixed it, and a lot of those fixes also ended up into the Nintendo Switch version. And also, it certainly had some issues at launch, but it's certainly, I think it's a better game now. This followed up with a sequel, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, which is sort of like a spiritual successor to Rare's take on the Donkey Kong Country games and everything like that. So, very interesting that they're doing this, though. No word on if it will be coming to the Switch or not. I mean, I wouldn't rule out the possibility it could come to the Switch 2 and all. And I'm very curious to see what about those who already have a copy of the first game. Will they get an update or anything like that? So, still some unknown questions at this time, though. We also learned that Metal Slug Tactics will be making its way over to the Nintendo Switch and other systems as well this fall. This was announced, I think, like maybe back, in 2020 or 2021. It was basically taking a tactical or RPG approach to the classic run-and-gun 2D shooter of the Metal Slug franchise. Then it kind of disappeared for a little bit, so to hear that it's finally going to be released this fall certainly is nice. I like the Metal Slug series and everything like that. The series has kind of gone quiet, or kind of gone a different direction after Metal Slug 7 and went on the mobile devices, with those microtransactions and everything like that, though. And I think there was an attempt to do a 3D Metal Slug game that didn't turn out as well on the PS2 and all, so I'm very interested to see how this one is going to play. Indeed, I think it sounds like it's something that could technically work for the Metal Slug series, but time will ultimately tell whether this one works out or not. We also learned that Suda51 has said that he would like to do a collaboration with the CEO of Level 5. As some of you are aware, Level 5 is known for, I think, the Ni Kune series. Sorry if I butchered that name correctly, though. Although I remember them from during the PS2 era with games like Dark Cloud 1 and 2, to basically Rogue Galaxy, to even I think they did one of the Dragon Quest games for Square Enix and all. So it would be interesting to see what kind of collaboration Suda51 would do with the CEO Level 5 if that ever happens and everything like that. We also have a report on what basically with the Kingdom Come Deliverance, the impossible Switch port that made its way over to the Nintendo Switch. I believe that was handled by Saber Interactive, and it basically supposedly took 2 years to get this game running on the Nintendo Switch. And I'll give them credit. I'll give Saber Interactive credit for pulling this off, especially with a game like Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, though. I mean, again, it's not a perfect port, and obviously it's going to depend on whether you think the Switch version is worth it or not. But I still got to give credit to Saber Interactive for pulling this off and everything like that. And we also learned from the head of the head of Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, who basically is saying that Naughty Dog won't be the Last of Us Studios forever, everything like that, which really isn't surprising considering that they weren't the Uncharted studio forever and all. I mean, do I think we'll see a Last of Us Part 3? I believe that it will eventually happen. Don't know if it will be for the PS5 or the PS6 when that eventually happens and everything like that, but I mean, obviously, at some point, The Last of Us is going to come to an end, and Naughty Dog will probably move on to whatever next game they have in store and everything like that. So, I mean, yeah, I kind of agree they're not going to be the Last of Us studio forever, or anything like that. Although we do know that their so-called online multiplayer factions for The Last of Us did get canceled and everything. And finally, in the movie and TV show part of the My Two Cent video, we have basically a teaser trailer or a trailer for the upcoming Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, the next entry in the Netflix's anime series that is aimed for an October release. Though, judging by what they show, it certainly looks promising indeed. Whether it's good or not, that remains to be seen. I will say, when it comes to video game adaptations, I do think Netflix has some hits and some misses though, while some like the Resident Evil and Dragon Dogma got mixed response. Same with I think Onimusha to a certain degree, although I think that one was better than Dragon Dogma. They have hit it out of the park with Castlevania, Witcher, Sonic Prime, and of course Cyberpunk Edgerunner. So we'll see how this one does when this comes out in October. We also learned, coming in October, is that apparently Amazon Prime Video will be doing a live-action take on the Yakuza Like a Dragon series and all. Kind of interesting to see how this one will play out as well. Obviously, Fallout was a success for Amazon Prime, so obviously they're taking their shot with this one. Whether this one works or not, that also remains to be seen, so we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out and everything like that. And last but not least, we learned that supposedly Paramount and Skydance Entertainment had sort of come to sort of an agreement or some sort of deal and all to try to get them, the merger or the acquisition together and everything like that. Obviously, there's still some hurdles that have to be overcome. And then, of course, there's the FTC. What are they going to do about this situation? So it seems that both seem to be moving closer, but time will tell if this deal closes or not. I still think most likely odds are it probably will close, but again, we've seen there could always be that bump in the road and everything like that. Okay, with the Quick My 2 Cent part and the movie and TV part of the Quick My 2 Cent now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the sequel to the first one, though, that originally came out on the PS4 and Xbox One and PC, and recently got an impossible port onto the Nintendo Switch. Now, the game definitely got some interesting reviews. There are those who liked the game, there are those who didn't. There was sort of a different take on a lot of some of the mechanics, though, which is different from what many describe this as kind of sort of a medieval take on a Bethesda RPG in general. But it certainly gained its following. So it was sort of interesting to hear when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was going to be announced, and we've also got the trailer and everything like that. Well, recently there seems to be some reports that because of the Xbox Series S, it is possible that the game may have had to, or the developers had to make some changes from what they had originally intended or something like that, based on, I think when you look back at it, some of the comments they have made in the past. In an article from Pure Xbox, it reads that, quote, first reported by Czech outlet Zing and translated by WCCF Tech, developer Aulx Studio can only make the game, this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, 25% bigger, apparently because the Xbox Series S only has roughly 25% more RAM than previous gen consoles. Of course, Xbox Series X and PS5 have quite a lot more RAM than the Series S, 16 gigabytes compared to 10 gigabytes. In addition to this revelation, the outlet has also detailed some of the more text space for the upcoming Kingdom Come Deliverance sequel. The second game will output at 4K 30 frames per second on Xbox Series S. I also pretty much they probably soon PS5 as well. While the Xbox Series S version comes in at 1440p at 30 frames per second. Now, there are some that are obviously going into this pushing, the console war narrative and everything like that. Some have made the claim the Xbox Series S is weaker. Others are saying that it's the developers' ambition and everything like that. I mean, we've heard this argument before, whether it was with Gotham Knights or with, Baldur's Gate 3, with Microsoft's policy of console parity and everything like that. Although Baldur's Gate 3 eventually made its way over to the Xbox system, particularly the Series S, basically by removing, the co-op feature and everything like that. The fact that this game, while some might argue it is disappointing that it's not going to be as bigger than, say, the first one is, though, although they're saying 25% bigger, though, to me, I just don't think it's as huge of a deal, to be exact, though, at least how I'm looking at it, though. Not every game needs to be sprawling, massive, open world or anything like that. Some can actually succeed with, not having a huge world or everything like that. I mean, look at, say, the Outer Worlds, for example. I kind of view that as Starfield light to a certain degree. It's not as huge as Starfield, but it still is a good game. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like both games and all, but Outer Worlds I still enjoy, even though it may not be as massive as, say, Starfield is. So, to me, I'm not completely bothered by this, that this game isn't going to be as massive or big or huge or bigger than the first one, though. I still think gameplay and fun is still the most important thing, and if that still remains in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, then to me, that's fine. I mean, I'm not bothered by it, though. I know there are some out there who might have a different take on it, though, but to me, it's not an issue at all, the fact that this game isn't going to be like 100% bigger than the first game or anything. It's just 25% bigger and all. For me, it's all about, does the game play well and everything like that. So overall, while there are some out there that might be a bit disappointed and some might point the finger at the Xbox Series S, though, and you can argue back and forth whether or not there were some decisions Microsoft made with the Xbox Series S when that launched. To me, the fact that it's not going to be a huge open world thing doesn't really bother me as much. As I said before, I think gameplay is the most important thing, and of course, is the game fun is also another factor as well too. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with a report coming out that apparently an employee at Google may have leaked some information from, Nintendo, or supposedly in the past. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a unfortunate report coming out from Google, particularly not only involving Nintendo, but also some questionable things. It has to do with basically leaks. Now, we've always seen, leaks here and there, especially when it comes to, like companies like Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. Exactly what are they working on and everything like that. Most of the time we hear it from other YouTubers or anything like that, too. Most likely, we hear it on either Reddit or Reset Era or Twitter, now known as X, and everything like that. But then there are times when some of those leaks where sometimes some companies might stop one of these leaks from happening and everything like that to taking legal actions. And then there's some situations like we see this with Google, particularly with YouTube and all. And basically this new report coming out seems to indicate, and Google seemed to have verified it, that apparently somebody that worked there may have leaked some information that, well, they probably should not have done, or at least the way it was done by this individual or whoever was involved in it. Anyway, in a report from Nintendo Life, it reads that a new report from 404 Media claims that multiple Nintendo leaks from 2013 to 2018 can be tied to a Google employee who has access to Nintendo's private YouTube videos. The report, based on an internal Google database, which has tracked 6 years worth of potential privacy and security issues, including those reported by the company's own employee. The database, which contains incidents from 2013 to 2018, reported details a case in which a Google employee had access to several private Nintendo videos and leaked the content of them online. According to a 404 Media, an internal investigation into reports concluded that the activity was non-intentional. It is unclear which Nintendo announcements were affected by the leak, though. Naturally, they would have fallen within the 6-year range covered by the database. The report details several other Google incidents for the time, including accidental login, children's speech data, storing license plates information captured by Google Street View camera, and making YouTube recommendations based on users' deleted watch history. The full database was obtained by 404 by an anonymous tipster. Google has since verified the internal report content, stating that all the issues were reviewed and resolved at the time. So obviously this is from 2013 to 2018, so I don't think it's referring to current at the very least, to be exact, but still, it's still very, I'm sure Nintendo was not pleased to see that some of this information or some of their stuff was leaked, but what also bothered me was apparently hearing about how some of that leaked incident also involved children's speech data, license plates information and all. So that's, I will say that's a little bit troubling, to be exact. So believe me, that one is definitely very troublesome. Hopefully this issue has been resolved, but will remain to be seen if Google will address this issue or not. Google, along with YouTube, there have been some controversy or some situations they've kind of caught themselves into. I remember, I think it was back in 2019, where apparently they were selling information of children who have like YouTubes and all that stuff to advertisers, and they had to make some changes because of that information from happening and all. I remember hearing about that. So little troublesome with this. Hopefully this is resolved, but I mean, I can understand why some folks may not be happy with this. So overall, yeah, not very good with Google or anything like that. I don't think this is going to, suddenly Nintendo's going to pull their YouTube page or anything like that. I don't foresee that happening, but it's certainly not a good thing for Google and YouTube, indeed, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League and the amount of, not only the amount of money that was lost, but what Rocksteady might be doing following this game's release. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, particularly with a report from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg that digs into more details of the big commercial flop from WB and Discovery, though. Now, supposedly, when Suicide Squad was originally announced and that it was going to take place in the Arkhamverse, a lot of people were kind of excited about this. Basically, a continuation following the events of Batman Arkham Knights and all, and it was being developed by Rocksteady that did the excellent Arkham trilogy and everything like that. Then came the showing that it was going to be a live service type of a game, and everything just went downhill very, very quickly for that game, to be exact. It got delayed and everything, and even after it launched and depending on, some reviewers liked it, some didn't, it still wasn't enough, and the game apparently has struggled since then, even after Season 1 has come out, even going as far as WB basically calling the game a disappointment and everything like that. And it was also reported, I believe in May, that they lost $200 million on that game and everything. Well, now a report, I think, from Jason Schreier kind of digs into more details about exactly what happened to Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. Now, unfortunately, the Bloomberg article is behind a paywall and everything like that. But an article from game developer developers.com kind of reads into basically gives us a quick summary of it. It says, an extensive report from Bloomberg has pulled back the curtains on the troubled development of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the high-profile live service dud from Batman Arkham developer Rocksteady and publisher WB Games, though. It says sources claim that it details how Rocksteady began to parrot the live service enthusiasm of publisher Warner Brothers, expanding the studio to 250 people from 160 in a bid to deliver an online multiplayer hit that would validate their belief that in the sometime lucrative, sometime catastrophic business model, free-to-play, live services and all. Sources claim the expansion turned Rocksteady into an unwieldy studio, a bit one still smaller than those making rival titles. Or still, some new recruits swiftly left developer after realizing they'd been put to work on a live service project. Rocksteady reportedly refused to share details during the hiring process, resulting in retaining issues when the expectations of new hires failed to manifest. The version of the game also remained in a constant state of flux, with Rocksteady leaders eventually choosing to focus on gunplay over melee combat as first pitch. It was a shift that left some developers wondering why they had chose to place characters such as Captain Boomerang and King Shark, who generally don't wield firearms, at the heart of the experience. Other leadership decisions left developers puzzled. Studio co-founder Sefton Hill reportedly wanted moddable vehicles that could be used to navigate the open world sprawling. This was after the team had already implemented unique traversal mechanics for each playable character. It was eventually scrapped after months of development and prototyping. Another issue arose from the need to make bosses and battles endlessly replayable to scratch the live service itch. Rocksteady only had single-player experience to draw on and ultimately struggled to ensure those encounters could go the distance. Those who worked on the project said concerns were raised internally, but would be met with toxic positivity. Management reportedly adopted and it will be all right on the night mentality, aka you could argue a BioWare magic or the infamous Todd Howard, it just works, and told staffers Suicide Squad disparate parts will come together on the final stretch. Warner Brothers executives apparently took a similar stance, lauding various incarnation of the title and claiming it has potential to become a billion-dollar franchise, which it did not in any way, and we all know how that played out. And from GameSpot, it's reported that supposedly, although no one's been fired, at least at this time, it does seem to indicate that support is dwindling for Suicide Squad. And according to this article from GameSpot, it reads, after launching earlier this year, the support team from Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has reportedly been reduced to a skeleton crew, as developer Rocksteady is said to be pivoted to a new project. According to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, the bulk of the studio is reportedly working on a director's cut on Hogwarts Legacy. Jason Schreier writes, some bare bones support, definitely not as much as they had originally planned. Beyond that, the Bloomberg report claimed that Rocksteady Studios leaders are looking to pitch a new single-player game, which will return Rocksteady to its roots following the poor critical and commercial performance of the game, as revealed during May's earn calling in May. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was $200 million bomb for Warner Bros. Discovery. They also pointed out that a Wonder Woman game is in development at Monolith Production, although progress on the it's rumored to be in a troubled state. So the part that got me the most that I just read is that they're saying everything will be all right and that everything would come together in the final stretch. As I mentioned, this is basically the same way in which we saw with BioWare with Anthem. It's all going to come together because of BioWare magic, and well, that did not exactly happen. And we all know how Anthem played out. And the worst part about all of this situation is, while I'm glad none of the employees seem to be getting fired or laid off, at least at this time, though, the fact of the matter is I feel like the higher-ups at Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers Games are not going to learn anything from this situation at all. They're pretty much going to try to double down on the live service and basically live service free-to-play type of games and everything like that. And you just have to wonder how much more money are you going to pour into those to the point where it just becomes, we're putting all this money in and it's becoming unprofitable and people are not getting into these kind of games. I mean, look what happened with Square Enix. I mean, we saw this with Babylon Fall. We saw this with Marvel's Avengers. I mean, even Foam Star is a complete flop, and God knows how long that game's going to stay afloat until eventually Square Enix decides to pull the plug on that one. Same with Anthem. It has a bare bones skeleton crew right now working on that game and keeping it on life support, but God knows how long until EA and BioWare decide to pull the plug on that one, though. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same fate happens with Suicide Squad Justice League. And it's just really sad to see some folks in the industry just trying to push for this live service kind of approach, only to just make every single mistake a failure after failure after failure. I mean, it's very hard to break into the live service kind of stuff. There are only a few games that seem to have done pretty well, to say the least, although you could argue its popularity has sort of dropped in a way, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's Warframe, to even Call of Duty Warzone and all. It's just, it feels like every developer wants to jump on that gravy train, and I think every single time we hear that, some of them just ultimately fail and so forth. And that's the part that makes this sad, is that WB is not going to learn anything from this. I just feel like they won't, and they'll just continue to double down on this. And I just wonder how much more money are you going to lose until it reaches the point where you realize this strategy is not working. As for Rocksteady, as I said, I'm glad no one's being laid off, though. It's nice that they are hopefully going back to their roots with single player type of experience. We'll see if whatever game they're pitching will eventually see the light of day. But the fact that they're working on a director's cut of Hogwarts Legacy is just, that's, to me, is a little bit head scratching, to be exact. But in either case, though, at least one silver lining, as I pointed out, is the fact that no one has been fired from Rocksteady, at least not at this time, or laid off at this time, to be exact. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with rumors of what we could see at the Xbox Showcase on Sunday and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at Xbox, particularly rumors of the possibility that their handheld might be shown up during their upcoming showcase. Now, as some of you are aware, although this video will probably be up on Saturday, Sunday, June 9th will be Xbox Showcase, and we'll be seeing what Xbox has to show, at least in terms of first-party games and all. Excuse me. And there has been some rumors of what we may or may not see. Along with it, the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 that will happen following the Xbox Showcase, very similar to what we saw last year with Starfield and everything like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they have to show, like I said. And I'm probably going to go in this one with mild expectations. I'm going to keep my expectations in check for this one. But recently there has been some rumors coming up that seem to indicate the possibility that we might see a new hardware for Microsoft in the Xbox division, particularly in the portability and the handheld side, though. In an article from GamerRant, it does point out several things, saying that, quote, Microsoft is planning to confirm the existence of an Xbox handheld console in June 2024, an established leaker has said. The claim suggested that the much rumored Xbox device could be significantly closer to hitting the market than initially expected, though. According to the article, it continues on by saying that Spanish leaker EXTAS1S has now cast some major doubts on the release timeline, though. It's referring to that they're thinking that they don't expect the console generation to arise before 2028 and everything like that, are asserting that Microsoft will confirm its first portable console existence as early as this month. Specifically, the company is planning to tease the handheld device at the June 9th Xbox Game Showcase. The leaker also said in late May YouTube video, the plan is to offer just a small teaser, the leaker claims, citing unnamed sources familiar with the matter. Even if the upcoming showcase doesn't deliver the full reveal of the device, the rumor itself suggests that Microsoft's first handheld may not be part of next-gen Xbox lineup. Since the upcoming console generation is still estimated to be at least 4 years away, sharing any kind of hardware teaser, no matter how small, will be entirely unprecedented move for Microsoft to make. It hence appears possible that if what this leaker's information is accurate, and such a glimpse of an Xbox handheld device does arrive come June 9th, whatever it ends up showing will likely be ready to hit the market way before the next generation of consoles does, circling 2028 though. Microsoft's gaming CEO Phil Spencer had himself recently stroked Xbox handheld console rumors on social media. Several early 2024 reports have also suggested that the tech giant is currently in the process of translating to an every screen is a Xbox gaming strategy. A portable console will align with that proposed approach. Aside from this blockbuster handheld claim, the speaker also has recently shared some additional insight into the June 2024 Xbox Game Showcase. Among other things, the leaker reports that Microsoft plans to shadow drop a first-party game that has already been announced as part of the event. Obsidian's Entertainment Evolve and Aulx Studio's Towerboard both fit the description, especially since both are currently targeting a 2024 launch, but neither has committed to a firm release date. The leaker also estimated that the June 9 showcase will see Microsoft share around a dozen first-party game trailers in total. So, in terms of the handheld, though, I think this could either may or may not work for Microsoft, but it also depends on how they are going to approach this. Is this going to be like an all-streaming device handheld? Are we talking about something on the scale of Sony's PlayStation Portable, or are we talking about something that could play native games and all, not requiring streaming or have streaming as a option though? How much of Game Pass is going to be built into this device? What's the battery life? What's the resolution? Is it going to have some similarities to the Nintendo Switch where you could hook it up to your TV and everything like that? So there are definitely a lot of questions to ask about this portable device and everything like that. And to me, it can or may not work, but a lot of it will depend on how well Microsoft communicates this and their messaging as well. So it would be very interesting to see, assuming this rumor is true, if this device comes to fruition. I can definitely see the potential, but I can also see it can also basically backfire onto Microsoft as well, because right now, ever since that whole situation with Tango Gameworks closing and everything like that, it's been very rough for Microsoft, and there's been some backlash and criticism towards them and everything like that, to some of their messaging, to some of their choices of making a lot of their games multi-platform and all, as not every Xbox fan seems to be happy with this approach. So it's kind of a back and forth kind of a situation, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not this comes to fruition or not, though. Do I think it's am I kind of curious to see this device? In a way, yeah, I am kind of curious to see this device. After all, the success of the Nintendo Switch, I think, kind of sort of brought handhelds back more into the spotlight now than it was like in the past. I mean, the success of the Switch, I think, kind of helped pave the way for stuff like the Steam Deck, to the ROG Ally, and to others, these handheld PCs that we are seeing go on the market and all. And we've also been hearing rumors about Sony possibly bringing back the Vita to a certain extent, or doing a different version of it. So, excuse me. It definitely, given the success of the Switch, it wouldn't surprise me if both Microsoft and Sony want a piece of that pie. Now, whether or not this device will show up during the Xbox Showcase or not remains to be seen at this time. So I am going to take it with a grain of salt, though, but I won't deny that I am very curious to see this a so-called portable Xbox if the rumors turn out to be true about it. So overall, very interesting to see how a portable Xbox will work or not. Whether it becomes a success or a failure ultimately will come down to how well Microsoft handles the messaging, the feature, and what kind of device it is, especially if it's just going to be streaming, or if it's going to be native, or is it going to be a mixture of it will be native but also have the option of streaming your games on this device too. Okay, this concludes this I Choose Scent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about what the developer said about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, particularly of basically the specs for the Xbox Series S? Do you think the developers are going a bit overboard on this? Do you think that they're right on about some of the criticisms about the Series S and all? What are your thoughts about this leak information from Google? Do you think this is bad in any way? Do you think this is really bad? Do you think Nintendo will take any actions or anything like that though? Does this worry about any information Google might have that you might have typed in or anything like that? What are your thoughts about hearing about Rocksteady and along with Suicide Squad killed the Justice League? Are you surprised to see them having a bare-bone crew work on that game now? Do you think that WB will pull the plug on this game eventually though? Do you think Rocksteady going back to their single-player roots is the wise choice for them? And do you think WB will learn anything from this, or you feel like they're just going to continue doubling down on live services, mobile and free-to-play type of games? And what are your thoughts about the rumors about a portable handheld being shown at the Xbox showcase, possibly being shown, rumored for now? Are you interested in a portable Xbox and all? Do you think it could work in any way? Are there things you would like to see if this portable Xbox does exist? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon or Streamlabs. Links will be in the description of this video, and I will see you next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!